Hello, everybody. Today is Monday, October 30th, and this is episode 46 of Block Digest. Today, we're at block height 492,386. And so, not to forget this time, we've got a special guest to introduce today, Alejandro DeLaTorre. I got that right from BTC.com.
Correct. Hi,
Nice
how's it going? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
We've got
Thanks for having me.
Our resident alcoholic, Theo Goodman.
You guys are so hard on me about that. It's okay. Thanks everyone for watching. And actually, we had almost 3 streams. We had Chris Rose, Richard Hart, and now us almost all at the same time. Bitcoin media is blowing up. Thanks for watching today.
We've got a regular meme artist, Rick.
Hey, everyone.
And Mr. Aknix. We will see if he talks today.
So, just how drunk are you, Theo?
I'm drinking water. I'm drinking water.
Sure.
That's not drunk.
All right. Well, today I guess we're gonna start off a little different order. We're gonna go fake news first. Vietnam is banning Bitcoin, kind of, sort of, maybe not. It's not really clear on any level. This Block Explorer website at first pretty much is saying that Bitcoin is illegal, period, subject to a $9,000 fine. But a clarification issued afterwards. Where did that thing go? Okay, well, links disorganized. Someplace in the web of links I provided, there was a clarification from a state media company from Vietnam that pretty much what was being explicitly declared as illegal is the use of Bitcoin as a currency. And it was because of a major university that was very publicly broadcasting in the media the fact that they were considering accepting Bitcoin for tuition. And so the central banks and authorities of the government felt the need to kind of reiterate that Bitcoin is not a legal tool for commerce or a currency in the country. And so it's kind of a little unclear where this leaves things now, because it was explicitly made illegal or stated to be illegal to issue or utilize a currency for trade and commerce. So obviously, just based on that wording, it sounds kind of like mining might not be legal, as that is obviously the issuance process. And it's obviously not legal to use it to purchase goods and services, but it kind of leaves it up in the air as to whether just investing or owning any cryptocurrencies is legal or not. If anybody wants to kind of pontificate about this with me.
Yeah, like I was reading that statement from the university, and it's really kind of unfortunate because it seems like they wanted to use this opportunity to sort of teach people about cryptocurrencies and what they called the fourth industrial revolution. And it seems like, it's a private university there that I'm sure a lot of people spend a lot of money to stay on the forefront of technology. And for them to make this kind of move, it's really unfortunate for Vietnam, I see, as a country, because if they really take these steps so early on to stifle innovation in what could become such a global player in economics, it's sad to see these guys take this step. But, I guess this is what comes whenever these countries aren't really paying attention to this, to put the regulations in place.
I think thoughts?
Yeah, I think that certain region right now is experiencing a huge boom in regards to South Korea, Japan. I think I agree with Rick. It's a pity that they're not actually moving forward. But I think what the article said was that they didn't mention, or they did mention Bitcoin, but it was more like they said these certain things were legal, and they didn't say Bitcoin was illegal, but they just didn't mention it, so it's de facto illegal. I guess it's a pity for them. I mean, Japan and South Korea are really pushing forward with Bitcoin, and it's not a smart move to do that. It's not a smart move at all, I think.
I mean, especially. Oh, okay, Theo. I gotta retain my rants inside.
It's all good.
Internalize them.
I just wanted to say that if people want to read something that I would trust is accurate, you can check out blog.bitcoin.vn from Bitcoin Vietnam. And shout out to Dominic at the exchange there. And they did, of course, they have it in Vietnamese, but they also did a good translation regarding the FUD. And, you know, there's two main points from the press release, that Bitcoin is not a legal currency, and two, not a legal means of payment in Vietnam. And I believe that's also how it is in China. You know, you're not allowed to buy stuff online with Bitcoin in China, but it doesn't mean that Bitcoin is illegal in itself. And it sounds a little bit similar. And also you can't, it's required to be listed as a domestic currency Vietnamese dong, VND. So you can't list things for sale in BTC. It has to be in VND. And there's some other things, but it doesn't mean that it's banned, so to say. But it does make a good headline, and you know, we're probably giving them indirect traffic too by by talking about it. But that's okay. You know, you have these things. Kyle Torpy, who we often give shout outs to, he said he normally deletes things that are incorrect off his Twitter, but he said he wasn't sure about this one, so he didn't delete it. But it is in the discussion of the tweet, like, you know, about how he's not 100% sure. So I think that's cool when people do tweet stuff that they put in the comments, hey, I'm not 100% sure now that I read it again. Because, you know, things get started really quick, especially in Bitcoin with everyone overreacting. So that's cool that he just said, hey, I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to leave it up for now. But yeah, I wouldn't say that it's banned.
Right.
All right, so I guess you want to slide into the long list of 2x related updates we got going on.
Sure, give us one.
This first one I think is pretty interesting. Trezor is replacing BitPay's exchange rate API in their web wallet. And like, I think this kind of illustrates, you know, a lot of these companies that signed the New York agreement and are trying to push through with it, like they're not irreplaceable. Like in a marketplace, you know, if you're not providing what the consumers of that market want, like they're going to go somewhere that does. I mean, this isn't the first instance we've seen with people actually trying to migrate away from BitPay. I know Nicolas Dorier actually forked their entire payment API, and obviously that doesn't come with the entire slew of banking relationships that would enable like quick conversion to fiat. But that is a solution for businesses who would want to accept the Bitcoin and either keep it in Bitcoin or potentially manage the fiat conversion on their own. And there's also been a decent number of companies that are just not using BitPay anymore as a payment processor. And it's really, it kind of goes to show that, you know, even the big titans in the space who might think they have a big lockdown seat at the table, like that's not necessarily true if they just completely ignore what their customers are asking for.
And what are the customers asking for?
Well, this particular customer is asking to stop this contentious fork nonsense that creates a never-ending pile of drama for us to sift through.
Well, I think like they just want, like their customers want to make sure that they're spending Bitcoin and not Bitcoin 2x. Like, I mean, like I haven't used BitPay until once they started making these comments about their ticker and changing things over. So I hadn't used my BitPay card in a while anyway, but just sort of confirmed I'm not going to use it. And, you know, all I've really got left is the Shift card. And I know that Coinbase is really cloudy on this. And it kind of makes me think that, you know, there's a market here for somebody to step up and take over this Bitcoin debit job, because if it's just going to be these B2X guys, I'm just not going to be using my Bitcoin debit card for a while until somebody decides to actually use the proper chain for that.
Yeah, but it is an interesting discussion because, yeah, who decides what is the BTC ticker? You know, who gets to decide that? And so what's going on in that conversation is, you know, discussing, you know, what is that? You know, there is no who decides that. There's nobody that
We all do,
really.
right?
Yeah, we all do. That company and Trezor is like, okay, we don't agree with, or we don't want to risk. I said from Trezor's point of view, I get it. I think some people might think it's political from Trezor's side, maybe, but I get it. They're a wallet provider, and for cold storage, not a wallet provider. They you know, they make, and they want to make 100% sure there's no confusion. So I get that. They say, okay, for the time being, at least, we can't use that. There's too much craziness. That I totally get. But it is also coming, it also begs the question, you know, who gets to decide, you know, what is the BTC ticker? And I guess, you know, each company decides for themselves, you know, what they can, you know, consider the BTC ticker. You know, we had recently Bitcoin.com. I don't know what, I have no idea what their policy is now, but they had, you know, they had these articles saying, yeah, we're going to call, Bitcoin Cash. We're going to call the BTC Bitcoin Segwit or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? But they made a decision. I don't know if they held to it even. I have not checked. So someone in the comments can figure that out for me. But you see what I mean? They made a decision. So it kind of is going along that whole discussion too. You see what I mean? So I think there's a few aspects.
Well, doesn't Trezor's like API like cashes out the Bitcoin immediately? Like you automatically get the amount that's at that point in time, where the Coinbase, when you kind of go ride the waves and spin it as it's going. So, I mean, just the headaches I'm seeing between people sending BCH to Bitcoin addresses, like maybe this is to avoid any headache from someone sending Bitcoin to this API and then saying they lost their Bitcoin because it didn't go through correctly. I'm just thinking that could save them a lot of, you know, troubleshooting down the road.
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I mean, but I mean, you have to think about why is Bitpay. I mean, Bitpay has a lot of users and a lot of customers, and they've been, you know, of course, listening to their users and customers. And why are they found out that their users needed to were complaining about the fees and it was too high. So that's why, I mean, that's where it stems from. I mean, their decision to support a fork that might lead to lower fees, which then allows their users to, you know, continue using their products or their exchange and whatever they have. You know, so that's where that whole issue. As I know you guys know, and everyone else probably listening knows that. But I mean, that's where it all boils down to. Trezor taking off that API. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just an API with exchange rate. I mean, you know, you could just do that yourself. It's very simple to. They of course want to avoid confusion. I mean, if Bitcoin Segwit has, you know, it's cost this much and the other one costs that much, of course they don't want the confusion there. But ultimately, I mean, it boils down to the usage of Bitcoin. I mean, we all want the fees to be lower, I assume. So as a wallet provider, for example, BTC.com, it's in our interest, or it's useful for us if our users are using, you know, that's low fees, because then there's more usage, people spend it. I mean, we're a wallet, so you store, you send, you receive. That's what a wallet does. I'm not, you know, I mean, it's also good I mean, Bitcoin is to be used, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's not, you know, just, I mean, holding is fine. I hold Bitcoins too, but you know, it should be used as well. So lower fees is what these businesses want. It's natural. I mean, it's part of their business.
Yeah, but I mean, that comes into kind of a couple of different issues. Like the most important of which I think is, you know, consistency. Because I disagree heartily, although I do understand where a business like BitPay is coming from in this. But ultimately, with the service they provide, like that consistency is one of the most important aspects. And what they're doing in trying to push forward with a contentious fork like this is destroy that consistency in a number of ways, like the potential value of the assets that their customers are dealing in, the number of connections as far as the liquidity between different economic actors. Like they're destroying that entire connection graph between consumers and merchants, as far as like people are going to fall on different sides of this fork now, and that completely precludes any ability to interact on an economic level. But I mean, to get really harsh, like ultimately at the end of the day, how I personally feel about it is like any particular company's business model isn't really Bitcoin's problem. Like, I mean, yes, at the end of the day, we all want fees to be as cheap as possible, but that needs to be balanced with a number of other things. Like, for instance, the actual stability in some kind of level of decentralization. Like, if we don't have some kind of ceiling guaranteeing the cost of validating everything, then you start to draw into question the whole stability of everything, because it's ultimately a data structure that everybody communally validates, and everybody agreeing on what is valid is really what makes a coherent system out of this. And so the more you raise that ceiling and the easier you make it to push that ceiling up, you limit the amount of actors, and you really start to deform things from a peer-to-peer layer into more of a hierarchy, where the vast number of people just have to trust that the data structure they're getting little snippets of is actually being validated under the rules they want it to. And the smaller number of people that can actually afford to validate it are effectively in charge of what is valid. And there's physically isn't even a way for anybody outside of that small group to ascertain whether something's valid or not, just due to the sheer cost of it. And, you know, I really do feel for businesses like Bitpay, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, I'm here for Bitcoin. Like, I'm not here just to support any particular companies in the space. And if some company's business model isn't really compatible with where most of the users want to take Bitcoin, well, kind of sucks at the end of the day, but that's how markets work. Like, everybody can't win.
But I mean, ultimately, every fork that's ever going to happen is going to be contentious. We're never going to get 100%. Everyone's not going to. There's always going to be someone that disagrees with what anyone's going to be doing. So this whole contentious fork that you hear be throwing around, it's always going to be contentious. There's going to be some people that are going to not want to do whatever some other people are doing. So, I mean, and ultimately, yeah, I'm also here for Bitcoin. We're all here for Bitcoin, I hope, and I assume. I mean, who decides what Bitcoin is at the end of the day? I mean, is it party A, party B? I mean, I believe let the market decide. I mean, if anyone wants to do fork or even bring it back to like, you know, Bitcoin and how it was 3 years ago, do it. Let's see which one the users want to use and which one has the most price and where we see more usage. That's I mean, it's fine. It's a big experiment. I mean, I mean, having other people try or other parties try to do their own thing. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's why BTC.com. I mean, we're supporting both chains. I mean, we've built a replay protection for a wallet, so we're supporting both chains. I mean, I think that's the professional and the right way to do it. Let everyone. I mean, if you want to try on this chain or you want to try on that chain, okay, it's fine.
I think a lot of people agree with that. It's just that when people, or groups or companies or whoever, calls one thing BTC and then the other thing BTC2, because of course they say that we're the real BTC. Everyone thinks they're the real one. Then it's confusing for people, and that's why people get a little butthurt on all sides. Everyone gets angry because of that. So I mean, I think that's cool. You guys built in replay protection already into the wallet. That's really good, because that is something that people need, and they need it to be easier than it is now. So that's not a total mess. So what are going to be the tickers? What's going to be the ticker for the 2x?
Well,
see, that's kind of.
I was waiting for that question.
So, see, that's kind of like my only problem, real quick, to just add to what Theo said. Is like if people want to fork off of Bitcoin or like have some other system derived from it to compete with it, like I have no problem with that. And like I kind of want to point to like Bcash as an example of that. Like, nobody attacked it or like DDoSed it into oblivion. Like it went its own way and it's doing its own thing. But like my issue is when we get into that kind of gray area, well then I have to fall back to self-consistency, to like the simplest definition I can. And in my mind, that's Satoshi defined Bitcoin when he released the first client. And when it comes to contention and not everybody being unanimous in agreement on changing that, and even in my mind with that personally, although others would disagree with me, when you break compatibility with that original code base, that's not Bitcoin anymore. And like it's derived from it. Like there's the same balances, and people are totally free to do that. But I just think definitionally, like in the situation comparing the thing that's still compatible with the original client to the thing that's not is obviously Bitcoin, in my opinion.
So it has to be compatible with the original chain. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the original client that Satoshi wrote.
I mean, but is anything compatible with that now?
Yeah, I mean, literally every single change to consensus rules since day one has been a soft fork. And I mean, like the efficiency of the code to actually be able to catch up to the tip of the chain might be in question. But the chain, if the code was efficient enough to actually validate things up to the tip, all of the contents of the current chain would be considered valid by it.
Okay. All right. Well, just I don't have anything to say.
I mean, it's a good point. He has a good point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I agree with the whole decentralization. I mean, we could still have decentralization with bigger blocks. I mean, it's fine. There's no issue there. In Satoshi's white paper said it would become much more specialized. This section of Bitcoin. So he did say it does state that in the white paper. I mean. And anyway, these nodes run in the house. You need very good broadband for it to be even efficient, for it to even efficiently be, for it to be useful. So
yeah. Well, the thing is, well, before I forget, because I didn't get a clear answer. What's the ticker going to be on the 2x? You don't know yet.
So it's been difficult to. There's been discussions every single day as soon as we signed the NYA. So right now we're gonna be calling it BT1 and BT2 until the market decides which one is BTC.
Okay. Okay, and then about the node thing, I don't think the point of it always is that it's efficient or like hyper efficient in relaying. It just should be good. It can be good enough so that you can verify yourself.
Yeah.
The idea is that you can verify yourself.
Yeah.
And if I have to have a 20K USD node, even though that's a meme now, then it's kind of hard for me for everyone to have the possibility to do it. It doesn't mean that Of course, everyone doesn't want to do that, but if they did, they should be able to. Otherwise, what's the point? Because that's the whole point of having Bitcoin, or one of the main points, right?
Yeah, that's a point, and I mean, that's what I always fall back to, where my personal goal is to just make put cryptocurrency in the hands of each mainstream user, be it what it is. I mean, it's better than, I think, just cryptocurrency. This whole space is evolution in human technology and finance, and be it what it is. I mean, there should be a decentralized and privacy-oriented currency. There should be one that's quicker and more efficient to be sent around. I mean, it's only the beginning. We're still seeing where it takes us.
Okay, so all right, just to go on a little tangent, is it important for more people, or what do you think? Is it more important for more people to use it, like mainstream people, or is it more important that it stays that it stays censorship resistant, in the sense that, you know, nobody can stop you from using it, you don't have to depend on a third party to use it? Because, you know, there's always going to be that trade-off, somewhat, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, it's going to be easier for the mainstream person to use some kind of third party, at least at the beginning, right, than for everyone to have their own wallets, even if it's a SPV wallet. You know, I don't know, they have like a Coinbase app, or, I mean, you guys are a wallet, but, you know, whatever, if they had a, you know, that makes it easier for them to use, and they would just be, or if they use an SPV wallet and then they connect to the 20K node, then, you know, that would be, quote, easier, because they wouldn't have to do as much work, maybe. So is that good, or should it, or does, you know, creating, or what's the goal? You know, is the goal more people, or is the goal to ensure that it's still stays decentral and still stays strong? Where's the little philosophical?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we're a wallet, so of course we want to see more usage. We want to see more people downloading our wallet and using Bitcoin. I mean, that's our company. I mean, that's what wallets do. We want to see more people using it, so it's just natural that's what I strive for every day. You know, I still I'm not too convinced about how it has to, that we still have to keep it very small, and then if we keep it small and whatnot, that it's more decentralized and more censorship resistant. I mean, we can. I mean, what are there's a yeah.
What are the? Does anyone know? Maybe Shinobi or Rick or Axon or anyone else knows, how big are the blocks now? Like, because of, you know, we have Segwit and all this stuff. So how much? What kind of size do we have now? Effectively,
they were pushing 1.2, 1.3 megabytes. I think they might be a little on the lower end now. Because the Segwit use percentage per block has kind of drifted down a little bit since the peak.
Okay, so it's the weight, it's the block weight. Is that right, Rick?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like it has to do with the weight now. It's not really like not a base size, so it could go under or above. I think I'm not really 100% on either, but I do know it's like a block weight now.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's pretty much like you discount the data size of the signature part in a Segwit transaction, and then there's the ultimate weight limit, which is like the non-signature and the signature parts. But the signature part is kind of discounted as like this. We'll treat it like this is less data than it really is.
Is that compatible with the first implementation, Shinobi?
Yeah, I mean, like pretty much what will happen if like a Segwit node is talking to a non-Segwit node, like all the information is like kind of broken up into its individual pieces. Like you have the transactions with Segwit, like the individual pieces of it, and what it'll do is it'll construct the block differently. So like instead of putting the whole block together with all the Segwit data, it'll just strip out the signature data and then put that together and send that off minus the Segwit part. So it's kind of just a difference in how the data gets communicated.
Okay. What's the next topic, Shinobi?
Well, we're gonna
We got kind of off topic. It says Chibi Minor still, or do we want to go on that, or we want to go to
that thing? Because you know how like everybody just grabbed on one block that didn't have a signal and said, "Oh my God, they changed sides," and yeah, they didn't, because people just grabbed one random piece of data.
GB Minor?
Mm-hmm. They've confirmed that they have not withdrawn from the New York agreement. They've actually just been testing some upgrades, and so obviously that affected the signaling in their block. But I was actually saying this, I believe, on the show when we mentioned it, and in the mumble, you know, this, don't kind of jump the gun on one block, because there's a whole lot of explanations for why something could change per block.
Yeah. Sometimes we're also doing testing and whatnot, and I think we mined one block without the NYA tag as well, but it was just that we were just doing some testing, the technical group. So it's not something to be, you know, it's not all of a sudden they Segway testing occurs and it might just go off. They might have forgotten or whatever. So happens.
Mm-hmm. Everybody on both sides of this whole thing is just quick to grab information that validates whichever point of view they hold.
Yeah.
What is BTC.com signaling?
We signed in the New York agreement, so we're going with the Segwit2x for sure.
And what kind of stuff are you testing? Can you tell us, or is it secret?
It was Chinese ancient secrets that someone posted the other day.
Okay, right, yeah, exactly. No, I was trying to figure out if this is if there is some, you know, new evil miner boost kind of thing, or is this just, you know, I mean, pools need to do tests, right, to optimize and do whatever they need to do. Yeah.
I mean, we're always optimizing and try to make it better, and I know we're always trying to make things better for our users. So there's just normal testing per day. We don't just sit around all day argue on Twitter. We work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess let's try to slip in the next topic so we can actually get through to talking about BTC.com. Somebody else is kind of thinking along the same lines as you guys, actually providing replay protection in a simple, easy way that doesn't make people's heads explode. So I do believe that this chain splits is what Eric Lombroso was talking about on Twitter the other day, with a non-custodial automated splitter. You guys can obviously, it's chain splits on Twitter. You know, reach out to them and try to get an invite to their Slack group. I think they're probably still fleshing out designs and everything for how to actually implement that safely. But yeah, it's I'm going to be using that thing pretty quick, I think, if this work actually goes through.
Yeah, I was excited to see that, and I'm surprised that more people haven't been replying to that just yet, but I'm sure it'll be a pretty popular tool.
Yeah, so we've built that tool as well. I mean, I think we're the first ones to come out with any communication that we're doing something. We're doing the same thing basically for our wallet users. So
yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, like, how does that work under the hood? Are you guys kind of just taking advantage of the fact that you have a pool to actually be able to split things yourselves?
So what we do is we tank UTXOs, which only exist on the S2 exchange, and then that in effect makes the transaction invalid on the legacy chain. And we're going to be handling the tainting of UTXOs. The rest, you're going to have to ask the development team. I mean, that's yeah, but that's basically it. I mean,
it's pretty much what I was talking.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean, it's obvious solution. You guys got the whole stack from a wallet all the way down to a mining pool. I mean, why not take advantage of it in a situation like this?
Yeah, I mean, we also provide. I mean, we're always trying to utilize the mining pool, to provide. For example, we provide accelerated transactions for our users. We give them one credit per month, so they can accelerate a transaction. They pay a lower fee. They get an optimal transaction time, so their transaction is confirmed as if they paid the higher fee. So yeah, we utilize the mining pool for various features, and we're going to be rolling out more things like this. I mean, we do have a clear. I mean, that is an advantage for us as so we should utilize it, and we are. And this is one example.
Yeah, have you guys, considered or have any plans for Lightning Network integration? Because I've always thought that mining pools were in a very good position there, both to kind of provide liquidity in terms of running actual routing hubs, and then also when it comes to monitoring like closeout transactions. Like if you're offering a wallet service as a pool, then you would be a miner directly monitoring things to submit the right like closeout if somebody tried to cheat somebody with a channel or something.
We have no plans right now for Lightning Network, but we are releasing Segwit soon, so we're working on that.
Oh, that's good news. Well, you guys want to roll on to the last 2 bits of 2x news, I guess?
Yeah, let's hit that really quick.
We've got a statement from OKEx, and they are essentially, it just looks like they're kind of reconfirming some things they mentioned before. Like they have the split tokens. In the event the fork actually occurs, the initial chain right now will be referred to as BTC, and the BTC1 split tokens will be credited 1-to-1. And then obviously the same for the 2x token and their BT2 tokens. And also if no fork occurs, then the value of the 2x token hits 0. Everything's redeemed to the BTC1 token 1-to-1. And it's pretty much just reiterating the same way of handling the fork, and obviously that the chain now is going to be BTC or Bitcoin as far as they're concerned. And then move on to eToro a little quick. This platform actually kind of shocked me because they're going full out. They've completely ignored the Bitcoin Gold fork, and they're actually going to be shutting down their entire operations and automatically closing all positions prior to the fork, and actually shutting everything down until things are settled. Although they have confirmed that they will continue to refer to the current chain as Bitcoin, and the 2x fork as a derivative coin under Bitcoin 2x or B2X ticker. So it's kind of like this is like a Mexican standoff. You look at all the businesses' positions.
Yeah, eToro. I think eToro just doesn't know what to do. They just don't. Right. I don't think they have the development, the capacity to do any of the things that for example, we're doing.
Well, I was going to ask. I think these smaller companies, they're probably questioning like if they got the manpower to handle this situation. Because one thing that I downloaded your wallet today, and I was flipping through the Play Store at the reviews, and there was only a few small bad reviews, but they were all people saying I sent Bitcoin to our BCH to my Bitcoin address and I didn't get it. And I just can't imagine really that that's going to be huge when B2X comes out, like people saying I sent this here and I didn't get it. And then people are going to be swamped with support tickets. They're not going to really be able to function as a development team. And so I feel like maybe they're taking a step out just to be like, we don't want to handle this at all. We'll wait till it's over. Because I'm sure you guys got a little swamped after BCH, and you're probably preparing for the B2X thing, correct?
Yeah. So that's definitely an issue. I mean, it's gonna be. We've been working nonstop since all these folks have started occurring, and it's not gonna change. The workload is not gonna stop. I mean. We do get a lot of we have gotten users that sent Bitcoin Cash to this and but our developers have built a way to for you to withdraw it through your backup PDF if you send BCH to BTC. But it takes a lot of development time to do that. It's like they have to handle each case individually. But it's not only Bitcoin Cash. I mean, we get a lot of users send their multi-signature transactions from other altcoins to their Bitcoin address because it starts with a 3, and then they think that it's I don't know
right.
Actually. But it happens. It's easy, especially for a user that is not well versed. So it happens all the time, and it's just we have to educate the market. I mean, that's what we have to continue that. And yeah, I do agree that there is gonna be confusion. But ultimately, I mean, we're only 90. We're just started. So we're gonna iron out some problems. We're gonna be people are gonna want to do that and this, and it's ultimately for the user to decide what they want to do. I mean, if they want to, something that's more oriented to this side, to that side, then that's them. But us as a wallet provider, we have to just provide what the user wants, and we cannot decide for them. We don't want to do that. We just want to give them the possibility to, of course, we're not going to be doing like this. I don't know. I hope not, but I foresee a hard fork every other week coming out. Bitcoin Petroleum, Bitcoin this.
Could you really handle all those support tickets though? People are going to be spending address. Like that's where I worry. Like we get all these forks, then it's like you got to just sort of stop paying attention to them at some point.
Yeah. So it is a hard thing to do, and we're always communicating with the community and looking into everything very thoroughly. I mean, however, I mean, Segwit2x it's different. It's different in the sense that there's a lot of companies supporting it, and there is a lot of. I mean, there's a big amount of people who are not supporting it, but there is also a big amount of people, or companies and people that are supporting it. So it is a important fork, so we will provide support for that, but not some dude in a basement is going to hard fork Bitcoin and expect us.
Are you telling me that Bitcoin Silver is not an important fork? I mean, who are you to say? Yeah, who are you to say that Bitcoin Silver is not an important fork? That could be the next. I mean, when Bitcoin 2x fails and Bitcoin Core fails, then maybe we're all on Bitcoin Silver, right? That's Satoshi's true vision.
Yeah, maybe so. I hope so. Bitcoin Silver.
No, seriously.
I just wanted to say I understand y'all's position, where it's like you're kind of in a rock and a hard place right here, and that's what I think EToro is just like. We're gonna step out for this.
Yeah, I think we had another one. I think it was Gatecoin on a few episodes ago, and they said just like, we're not doing anything. If you want any of your 2x stuff, just go somewhere else. We're not doing it, basically. And they're like, but they don't. But that's like what you guys said. They're not huge, so they don't want to fuck their own exchange up. So they're probably just like, okay, we're not going to deal with this, guys. We're just using the normal, and then when it's all over, maybe we decide again. But for now, if you want any of that stuff, just sorry, we're not doing it, because I don't think they have enough resources for all that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like
we'll handle it for you.
Nopara actually clarified that. Like Alejandro is, I think, kind of right with eToro. Like in Gatecoin's case, they're pretty much just using Nicolas Dorier's setup and libraries, and he has no intent of creating any 2x support, so they pretty much just defaulted on that because of that.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, well, I mean that also makes sense. I mean, if you're an exchange, you don't want to break your exchange because there's 2x or there's silver or gold and whatever other thing coming up. So you kind of, and it's also it's also a little weird because now the cat's out of the bag. I mean, we had Bitcoin Cash, we had Bitcoin Gold, I guess is coming. And you got all this other shit, and they are getting listed somewhere, right? So now the cat's out of the bag. Now there's going to be a ton more, just like Rick was saying. So, it's just going to be a matter of, if enough customers want it, then service providers will have to add it. But, at what point do they have enough resources?
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, it is our goal to continue, our user acquisition. We need more users, and if there's something in the market that a lot of users are using, and there's a lot of transactions and businesses accepting it, then it's just natural for a company to move into it. But of course, there's a line. I mean, I guess there's gonna be. I mean, this industry has evolved, and we evolve at a lightning fast pace. I mean, and we'll find a way to we'll find some rules or some to adhere to for the next coming thing. It might be not, I don't know what's next. I mean, it's like a month. Every month there's a new flavor. It's unbelievable.
I got a tough question for you. Like right now, obviously, you're gonna continue referring to the current chain as Bitcoin, but under what conditions would you make the decision to refer to 2x as Bitcoin as opposed to something else? And also, like, would you apply those conditions equally to something else? Like would that be a bar that you just use in this one instance, or would it be kind of a ruler that you establish to use for all future incidents like this?
That's a good question. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, the decision is not mine to take; it's the whole team to take. So it's a hard question. I mean, I think we'll just have to wait and see. Let the market decide whatever is. It's a difficult question. I mean, there's a lot of things to look into there. I mean, there's many things. You got to look at the power, the hash, let's see. Let's wait for the market to decide. I think that we consider that we are looking at. But I mean, I don't want to say too much because we really to provide a platform for our users. We'll see how the whole entire market evolves in the future, whatever it may be.
All right, well, just try to get you out of the hot seat here. I mean, like, do you want to tell us like a little bit about like the company in general? Like I talked a little bit about this before we went on air. You guys were originally the Block Trail Explorer and wallet, and then you were purchased by Bitmain, and then that kind of spun off the mining pool after the fact.
Yeah. So we were a startup based in the Netherlands. We're still based in the Netherlands, and Bitmain acquired us. And Bitmain owned BTC.com, the website. So we felt that was that is a stronger brand name for a Bitcoin wallet. So we rebranded to BTC.com. We expanded our team. We're expanding right now. We're actually looking for developers. So if there's any developers right now looking or watching, please get in contact with us. We're always we help with relocation and everything. But and Bitmain, we added a mining pool to our operation, which of course it's a good business to have, the mining pool business, and we're right now third. I think I checked yesterday we're number 3 in the world. We have a whole team dedicated for the mining pool. There's a sales team that goes and looks for people, for miners that want to. Team that goes to the miners and tells them to switch on over. So it's and our team also in Beijing. So we have 2 We have one. It's one company or one team, but they're based in Beijing and Amsterdam.
Okay. Like one of the most interesting things like about the mining pool, I would like a little clarity on is like how much influence does Antpool or Bitmain have like on the control of the BTC.com pool, like as far as the clients it runs or how it operates itself? Because like when it comes to like hash rate and who's really controlling it, like it really is a lot of just speculation because it's hard to get like actual confirmable data. Like anybody can point their hash rate at a number of different pools or split it around. And I feel like the public perception has always kind of been that BTC.com via BTC, the Connect pool out of Israel are all kind of just like fronts for Ant-Man. Yeah, you can go ahead and answer. Sorry.
Connect BTC is Bitmain. I mean, it is Bitmain. It's an R&D division of Bitmain. So, but via BTC, I think Bitmain on the minority stakeholder in that company. BTC.com is Bitmain. We are Bitmain. We were acquired and merged. We are Bitmain. But we have our different hardware and we go out and look. So a lot of people think it's just, I don't know, there's miners out there, individual miners, and we go out there, we meet them and we tell them, let's switch on over, we give them the whole sales pitch. I mean, it's what it is. We're always trying to beat Antpool with their hash rate. I mean, we want more hash rate than Antpool.
Yeah. Do you have to go on a lot of meetings at really crazy hours? Because everyone is in different parts of the world.
Yeah. I've been to some pretty interesting mining farms, to say the least.
Okay, right. In the middle of the Chinese mountains or somewhere secret location. Did you have to take a helicopter? Were you blindfolded?
So that's what happened. We had to go to a secret location. We were blindfolded, then helicopter. Then we were shot out of the helicopter. And then
parachute.
Parachute, of course. But and to the secret location where we were eye scanned and
can you? I can't talk anymore because I know I don't want to get too far off of it, but I do have another question because I met Alejandro at a conference and I wanted to ask, can you tell us just really quickly the top 3 or 4 questions you get that are real typical from people? Because it's kind of funny. And see, what happened is you made your own meme to kind of counter it, the evil Chinese miner or something like that. So just tell us the top 3 questions that people ask every time, and what you kind of how you deal with it.
Great question. The ASIC boost question a lot. That's a big one.
Okay, so you mean just does BTC.com use ASIC boost, or is that the kind of type of question? Because you're a pool, so you can't use it. But so what exactly? Or how would that work? Okay.
No, I mean the people just base that question like that ASIC boost. They just throw a crazy sentence and add ASIC boost onto it. I mean, they've come up with. There's people out there that are really. I don't know what they're thinking. It's like these far out conspiracy theories. I mean, do you work for the Chinese government? It's a good one.
That's a great one. That's a great one. I don't remember because I missed your talk, but I was just talking to you and everyone else about some of the questions that got asked. I think the Chinese, I know ASIC boost came up. I don't know about the government one, but that's a good one. Are you like an agent for the Chinese KGB or something like that? That would be, intelligence service. Okay. Any other final one that you get a lot that just comes up? I think it's interesting to see because you give talks at conferences about this, and you're cool. You're reasonable. You guys signed New York agreement, but you're not like going up on your presentation, saying like, Borg Stream is the worst thing for Bitcoin, or I don't know. I mean, you might. I don't know what your opinion is, but you know, it's cool. It's a different. You might have a different opinion, but it's cool how you present it. So that's why I wanted to ask. Okay, so what's the final question that you get? The third one to make it a 3.
So I mean, to talk about that point. I mean, you know, our team does it. We believe in competition. Competition is good. I mean, if Blockstream is doing something, that's great. Or if company A is doing nothing, you know, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I believe in competition. So does the rest of my team. I'm not gonna go and we're not. It's not. We're not. I believe we're not children here. We're not just gonna be this. My product is better than yours. No, it's not like that. I mean, it's fine. Go work on your stuff. Good. You seem like you're doing a good product. And anyway, that's beside the point.
Well,
I
gotta bust your balls about that, Alejandro. I mean, Jihan Wu literally directly goes on.
I'm used to it. So sure.
I mean, he literally the other day just said Blockstream Core is crippling the Bitcoin network for the big banks. And I mean, like, believe me, like, I know not everybody like working in that company or like you yourself actually believes that. But I mean, clearly the CEO is kind of publicly pushing that narrative directly himself.
Well, I mean, there's nothing I can do if I mean, what other person does with their own time or their own opinion, that's their own problem. That's their own that's their own decision.
But I mean, that's kind of what like worried me, and like why I asked like a little about the degree of control that Bitmain has over BTC.com. I'm more thinking Jihan, because I'll be, as a user, like I have no connection to any specific business in this space. So I am probably in a healthy degree of paranoid, I'll admit, when it comes to everything in this space. And when I see like the CEO of a company like Bitmain with such a huge influence in the space, like kind of propagating that narrative, it kind of worries me what he might do with the influence that he has in different regions of the ecosystem.
We are part of Bitmain. It's a Bitmain. I mean, it's part of Bitmain. Jihan is our CEO. I can either, I can't comment about what he talks about on Twitter. I mean, that's his own. That's up to him. Like, I comment on Twitter, all these fun stuff too. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, but we are part of Bitmain, so we're a wallet provider, and like I said earlier, I mean, it's just providing a good product for our users. That's our goal. That's it. That's it.
And that's kind of like what like annoys me most in this space. It's like to kind of use like Bitmain and Coinbase as examples. Like, these are both companies that have the positioning and the resources to really push things in a technological way to the absolute extreme that they could. Like I brought up, the potential of how like a business like BTC.com could integrate something like Lightning Network in a very user-friendly, secure way, because of that top-down way that they both provide a wallet service and are miners themselves that can directly preferentially confirm their users things. And like Coinbase in the exact same way, like the way that they're a big like gateway in the United States and a lot of the West, like they have a big network of users, and like an alternative like of something like Lightning Network could be a very well integrated thing as far as consumers interacting with merchants, actually making the exchanges own operations internally more efficient. And I just see, because like the heads of these companies kind of are just wrapped up in in these narratives that those companies' resources aren't really being optimally allocated to get the most benefit for their customers.
Maybe I would also
for our
say,
customers. Wait, let me respond. I mean, it's like ultimately, like what a company does with their own business is up to them. I mean, it's who's to say that Lightning Network is fine. We have a Tesla Lightning Network in the office that we use. It's great. But I mean, is that the answer? Is that the answer for Coinbase and Bitmain? Do we have to move on? Be it Lightning Network or be it over? Is that? I mean, it's ultimately up to them to decide.
Well, yeah, it is, but like that's kind of like what bothers me about it is that like there is not going to be a singular answer for any of the problems that face the system. Like it's going to need a Swiss Army knife of dozens of them, and I feel like too many businesses on this space are just like laser focused to make a pun on a singular like answer for everything, and ignoring the way that smaller answers for parts can be applied piecemeal. And like that's like it's kind of like to draw back to like what I said about Bitpay earlier, and the fact that you can replace a lot of aspects of these businesses, and it's like it kind of bothers me on a systemic level, because if like what I see and perceive as far as the situation is concerned continues to be the trend, then it's going to be an externality for the whole ecosystem, because eventually businesses that are not optimally allocating their resources are going to buckle. But a lot of these businesses are just so big in the space that you can't escape kind of a systemic fallout on the ecosystem as a whole if and when that were to happen. And it just seems to always kind of boil down to just these personally driven narratives that seem to be fueled more by like emotion or reaction to like personal interactions between people, rather than like actually just looking at all the cards on the table.
I disagree. I think no. I mean, businesses are. I mean, our business is working fine, and our aim is to continue. And I mean, we're not sitting around, like following our emotions. No, it's not. It's going on.
Well, I'm not trying to make like a personal comment about like the whole team of a business, but I mean, like ultimately in a business, the people on the top kind of call the shots as to how everything gets ran in the whole organization. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, yeah. But I think I mean, most of these CEOs have gotten already to be very successful companies, and I think they know what they're doing. So. I mean, so of course, someone could make a bad decision. I mean, that can happen. Anyone can, any one of us. But I don't think they're fools. I don't think they're fools.
I just wanted to say, all I wanted to say was that everyone needs to, Twitter is Twitter, and it's everyone likes to go on Twitter and talk to each other and troll each other a little bit. And just, keep in mind that it's Twitter, though. It has its certain properties to it, and so does Reddit. Reddit has its own properties, There's certain styles for each mode of communication. So just keep that in mind. And I wouldn't necessarily say that, I don't know how I can explain it. It's just, when you talk to people in person or you talk to them like this, it's a lot different, and you can explain your opinions in long form, and everyone, can just, Twitter is cool, but, take a step back from that and don't. It's easy to, take one sentence and out of context, real easy on Twitter. Everybody does it. It's not one. I'm not going to say one side does it more than the other. I think everyone does it, and just everyone keep that in mind. So that's why we need to have good conversations like this. and just discuss things in we, like we say on here as a kind of ongoing joke, tone down the ethics. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, I think Twitter, people don't take Twitter as one person's, maybe it's in other industries too, I don't know, but it seems like Bitcoin CEOs sometimes go a little bit crazy on Twitter. And it's not just one company, it's a lot of companies have that on Twitter. We had, so I think Brian Armstrong, I mean, if whoever does PR for Coinbase should just say, Brian Armstrong, you are not allowed on Twitter. And then, and maybe for Bitmain, maybe Johan shouldn't be on Twitter too, and like put images of people dying and stuff, you know. But it's okay, you know what I mean. But it's okay. That's what they do. That's fine. Everyone knows it. I think some of the Blockstream guys, they tweet a whole bunch too, you know. So does they do crazy tweets too, you know. Everybody does crazy tweets here. Everyone is going nuts with a lot of the what about BitGo have an internal debate on Twitter between the CEO, the CTO, on everyone, you know what I mean? It's just like Bitcoin, you know, they just really go nuts on Twitter. So just keep that in mind. I don't know why they had an internal debate on Twitter like that. That was probably the craziest example I've seen lately. I think it was about 2x too, right? It's like, yeah, Lop is like, hey, what are you doing? The other guy's like, no, you're wrong, you know, on Twitter. So, you know, just keep in mind that all kinds of companies do crazy shit on Twitter.
What happened to Lop, by the way, was way.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot. Cool. That was nuts.
That's not cool. Yeah. That's not cool. Yeah. He was here in Amsterdam. We had a great time. We went boating. It was a great guy. I mean, I don't understand. See, that's a step too far. I mean, you can troll all day on Twitter. That's what you're into. You know, that's not.
Right.
Down everyone.
See, that's what I'm talking about. People don't always realize that. How can a company owned by Bitmain go on a boat ride with Lop? Is that possible? You know? No, I'm just joking. Some people think that's not possible, you know.
All of these all of these rabid factional disagreements are almost all entirely rooted at like the tops of hierarchies in companies or like big figures. Like whenever I actually sit down and talk with people like you here right now, Alejandro, like it's a reasonable discussion. When we pull out of those little limited text mediums like Twitter or Reddit, where you're just talking at people and not with people, like we can have our fucking disagreements and we can talk them out, and that's
great.
Like,
that's what it's all about. I mean, we have to disagree. That's how we get anywhere. I mean, that's how we push the industry forward. We disagree, and eventually something comes out, and that's how it should be. We're not gonna always agree, and we're all adults here. So let's talk and keep it civil and move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, it's like to kind of jump on that to like this whole New York agreement. I mean, like, you know, Alejandro, like I haven't been here since the very beginning, but I've been here for like 4 or 5 years now.
I've been since 2015, so I've been here for a long time.
Yeah, you probably got here maybe a little bit before I did, or around the same time. But like this is like a lot of the things going on right now, and like the contention, especially from people like me, is I have to be skeptical when I look at things, and like to the extreme, to the like I can literally trust nobody. And when I see things like the New York agreement, or like things like, you know, Classic or XT, or all these attempts to kind of make backroom deals and redefine things, like I immediately have to look at that as a social attack. Because when it comes to the network, you can attack it technically with hash rate, or you can attack it socially to try and convince people to redefine it. And like it's like just the confluence of events over like the past years are literally like my whiteboard of possible ways that you could attack things all happening together at once. And so for somebody like me, like looking at Bcash, like looking at the 2x agreement, like I have to be skeptical, and I find it very hard to kind of extend the benefit of the doubt universally. Like with Bcash, like I 2 years ago, I literally thought, hey, what if you just start forking off a bunch of different chains, but don't change the proof of work, and just kind of let them stagger out there over a couple years. And then you can just play with the prices and make the hash rate dance like a puppet on a string. And when you start playing games like that, you can start leading hash rate away from the Bitcoin chain and spread it more evenly amongst all these other ones. And now you've brought all of those chains difficulties down to where all of them can be attackable simply by sacrificing one or like two of them. And like seeing Bcash now seeing Segwit2x, like my fucking alarms are going off. And I find it very hard to not see this moving in the direction of an attack like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. I don't see it as an attack. I don't see it as, black and white deal or deal. Hash rate. I mean, we continue to see a lot of people. There's a lot of people beginning to mine, so the hash rate continues to increase. So, I mean, and ultimately, a miner is going to follow where the money is at. That's what miners do. That's why they invest in these mining machines, so they can make money. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point, but there's other ways you can attack Bitcoin. You could also say the same thing. I don't know about keeping the block lower. I mean, that could be for some people also an attack vector. Or what the mainstream usage of Bitcoin. I mean, if you can't use Bitcoin because the fees are too high and you get less and less people using it, that can be seen as an attack, I guess. I mean, there's ways you can see it as there's many you can see it whatever whatever it is, that could be seen as attack. This other thing can be seen as attack. I mean,
well, I mean, I get what you're saying.
I believe the evolution of this is right now. And I've been in Bitcoin since 2013. I've been in there. I've been here for a while, and I've seen the whole development. Since early 2013. And I mean, I've always focused on the business side, right? So that's always been that's where I've been focused on. But I've been here since 2013. And I mean, I'd see it as a solution. I think a little bit and let the market decide. I mean, it ultimately is anarcho-capitalist. Let the market decide. Let's see what happens. It doesn't have to be looked upon as an attack or anything. Let the market decide, see which one is more used, which,
But see, that's my problem. Is like that
problem.
I am okay with things competing, but
okay, so
it's not a black and white competing over what's superior in two different systems. What's going on right now? It's a semantical game to try to claim to be Bitcoin, because everybody thinks whatever is seen as Bitcoin will just de facto win. But see, my problem with that is like immutability was the guarantee. And so if there's no consensus on changing something, then it defaults to what we have now. And I mean, some people might not like that, but that might mean that we just don't ever hard fork. And I mean, there's other ways to do things like, increase the block size or deal with issues like that if that's the case. But like what I see is an attempt to undermine that very basic nature that if there's no consensus, it's a default to what we have now. It's more of a like, no, like this is the thing because this arbitrary group says so. And like that worries me, because that really makes me scared in the long term of if it can be done for an innocuous little thing, well then what's to stop it from being done for something incrementally bigger and more fundamentally changing, and then on and on. And it really it is a slippery slope that is a legitimate thing to worry about.
Well, I mean, it is an interesting. I mean, it's a fair point, like I said, But I think the market is going to decide what is. I mean, we're going to keep going back to that because I mean, it is something to see what it's going to be called Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know what's going to be what it is. What's it going to be called in the future? I don't know what everyone's going to decide. What point, company A or B or whatever is going to say about that. I think we're just gonna have to wait and see what's gonna happen. But I think the market will decide what Bitcoin is. That's what I think.
All right. Well, anybody else got any questions or something to discuss? I've kind of just been grilling them on the hot seat a little bit. I kind of feel like a dick.
It's all good. It's all right. Sorry.
I think you covered.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the questions.
I was going to say, I think you covered it pretty well. Good. Thank you for coming on, Alejandro.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, we've been going for over an hour, guys. I think that I want to thank Alejandro for coming on and everyone else for. We had our show a little earlier today for our viewers. Also, everybody, keep in mind, in case you haven't noticed, that Europe has changed the time, but US has not. So if you're wondering why some of your schedules are not working today, that could be one reason. And that's one reason why we came at a kind of strange time as compared to some of our other times. And yeah, I don't have any final words, but I think that is good to know. One wallet that does have replay protection for 2x already now is BTC.com, and that's pretty cool, actually. And I think we'll be seeing more of that. So thanks a lot. And
I have some final words to say.
Yes,
go ahead.
You guys asked me what we would like. So we're going to communicate through as a team, and we'll communicate in a more concise manner, or what we believe will be Bitcoin in the future. So stay tuned for that. You can check our blog at btc.com.
Good. Okay. And then then after that, we can get you on here and roast you.
I was born. I'm made for this.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, to say a last thing, like I really do appreciate you coming on, Alejandro, and I know I put you under the microscope, but I really do appreciate when people actually try to engage in a civil discourse instead of just scream at each other on Twitter. Like, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, everyone. Make sure to subscribe to their channel.
Thanks, man. And I guess now that we're at the outro bit, everybody should know by now that when I'm hosting, liking and subscribing is not optional. So push the damn buttons. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.